Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live. I'm Monica Burton.
And I'm Regina Novak. We're excited to be here with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, we are so excited. We've been talking about this course on our social media pages, and Regina and I have been talking about this for several months. And today what we're going to do is we're going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour talking with you about our pre-recorded online course, The ABCs of Money and Your Relationships. And so go ahead, Regina.
Well, so my name is Regina Novak, as I mentioned. I'm a health educator and financial coach. So my approach to finances is very holistic. And that's where Monica and I were so excited to work together, because when we first met, I said, money to me starts with our mindset. Do we believe that we can do it? And then that goes to our behaviors, because our behaviors follow our mindset. So when we were talking about this, we're like, you know what, this is really a good mesh of our backgrounds. I've spent years doing health education, looking at behavior change and what it takes to change behaviors. And personal finance is the same as, if we want to lose weight or quit smoking, like it's got to start here. And that's where, when we met, we said, this is something with our backgrounds that we can, help people, because that's why we wake up every day and do what we do. We want people to win in their relationships and win with their money. So I feel so grateful that we met and we're able to put this together.
Right. And I have been a licensed marriage and family therapist since 2005. I've been a therapist since 2003. And what I've consistently seen with couples is money is a hot button that can create a lot of conflict in relationships. So, we are here today to help you guys learn how to talk about money, how to create financial goals, and really how to come together and improve your relationship. So let's talk a little bit about, we're already starting to talk about why we're doing this course. So let's just talk a little bit more about why we're doing it. Oh, before we get into that, I just want to say, if anyone watching, if you guys have questions, please feel free to type them in the comments and we will answer them kind of towards the end, but please let us know what questions you have. So, again, why we're doing this course is because we have found over the years that we've been working with people and helping couples that money is definitely a hot button. And in fact, a recent research study by Dr. John Gottman, who's been studying relationships forever, he took a sample of about 4,500 couples and found that financial arguments were really the number one thing that was creating financial discussions, arguments, beliefs and values about money are the thing that was creating the most conflict in relationships above sex. So money is definitely a hot topic.
It is. And, it's one of those considered taboo topics that we don't talk about. And my years working on the wellness side of things, money was usually a barrier to change. And it tended to be one of the number one sources of stress. So even outside of relationships, just for individuals, the strain from money worries, being up at night, wondering how you're going to keep the lights on or how you're going to survive till the next paycheck. It was really a detriment to work performance. It was a detriment to taking care of your health. And when you think about those things, if we're not thriving in areas of our life as individuals, we're probably not bringing our best self to our relationship, right? So then you combine two people that are struggling with that, and then we don't know how to talk about it because, and this is something we talk about in our course, maybe we've never talked about money because our family never talked about money. We're kind of at a standstill. We're almost paralyzed on where do we go from here? So that's why we want to do this, because we know in our line of work that relationships are hard. Managing money is hard. Changing behavior is hard. And we want to see couples be able to build the financial dream that they want, because we believe you can do it. We just want to help you get there.
Absolutely. And also this past year has been a significant amount of stress on couples, for many different reasons. And one of those have been financial stress. And we actually talk about that in the course. So, that's another reason why we thought it was so important to do this course, is to help couples at anywhere that that have been struggling with finances, stress in general and also finances. And so I think, that kind of leads us into, who is this course for? And it's for anybody, really, any couple, at any stage, whether you have just moved in together, you've just gotten engaged, or you've been married for 25 years. It's also for people who maybe one partner wants to take the course and one partner is not so sure. You can go ahead and take the course.
Yes. And I think that that last one is a great point, Monica, because, sometimes it's hard for both of you to get there, right? But we do find in both our practices that if you can help yourself become more self-aware of your needs, your wants, and even the way that you communicate. Because let's face it, and we actually talk about this in one of the modules, when we communicate, are we communicating in a way that our partner or spouse understands what we're saying? What are they hearing? Right? Because there's always the, what am I saying from my perspective?
Right.
What are you receiving? So, we want you to do this together, but if your spouse or partner is kind of on the fence, they're not sure, this is still something that could benefit you because it could help you become more self-aware, bring a better version of yourself, and then maybe over time, little bits and pieces will open your partner up. So absolutely, this is, if you do it on your own, that's great. And especially for couples, if you're just starting out and you're like, we haven't talked about money at all because maybe we're just engaged, or we haven't combined our money at all yet, this is a great place to start. So you'll actually be helping yourself for years to come if you do it now. So
Right. And there are some, takeaways. We definitely want you to take away some things. So let's say you watch the course and 6 months goes by. We want you to know that you are learning skills that you can use 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. So it's really our goals, what our goals are for you guys, and what we want you guys, how you guys can create some goals in taking this course, and also what are you going to gain and what are you going to take away as you take this course. So, some of our,
we look at a couple.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we look at a couple of different areas. We have some goals that we want you, by the end of this course, you're going to feel proficient in. So one of those things is, we're just going to help you talk about money. And I know it sounds simple, but having those conversations and some of the things that you really want to avoid as you communicate, and then things you really want to embrace when you communicate with each other.
Yes. And that's the thing, is when we learn how to communicate around money, we're also learning how to communicate about other things in general. But what we have found is, when it comes to the topics of money, there are things that we say that, just what you said, Regina, we want to learn how to avoid those things, and we're going to learn a better and healthier way to communicate with each other. So one of our goals is to help you succeed when you talk about finances, and also help you just succeed in terms of, what does healthy communication look like in your relationship. And so we're going to not only help you with that, we're also going to give you some tools on healthy communication, on budgeting, so on how to increase intimacy. This is also attached to intimacy, emotional intimacy, and how to create better space for understanding one another.
Yes. And we want you to learn more about yourselves too. So we have a whole module dedicated to the psychology of money, because money is personal, it's emotional, and it's relational. So think about the fact that you as two people have come together. You are different and unique in so many ways. And that's part of what makes relationships great, is that balance. But if you're not self-aware of your own maybe emotional triggers around money, or things from the past that maybe are hindering you from having conversations, or belief that you can succeed as a couple, that creates a barrier, right? That's limiting you. So we want to explore some of those things. And actually, with your worksheets, so each module is going to have a worksheet and activity to go with it. We really encourage you as a couple to actually do it alone at first. Try to dig deep into your own relationship with money, and then use that as a way to come together and discuss as a couple. So that's something else that you're going to be able to take away from this course, is greater self-awareness of yourself, and then how the two of you come together and make that work in a way that, maybe you didn't think possible, but trust us, it's really possible for a spender and saver. Here's a little teaser for the course, but it's possible for a spender and saver to budget, and we're going to show you how that happens.
Right. Yes, we will. And that's one of the things that you'll gain. And we even say this, here's another little teaser, is once you finish this course, it's not really an ending, it's a new beginning. And you're going to learn how to work through your differences. So just that spender and saver, you guys can come together and have a really amazing relationship, because it's not how you're similar, it's learning how to work through your differences. So, just know that too, is that you guys are going to learn, you're stepping into a new beginning when it comes to learning how to talk about finances and your financial dreams. So what do you gain from this course is, Regina mentioned some worksheets. You're going to have some worksheets that you can take with you, and you can use those for, however long you want, but it's good to refer back to those 6 months, 1 year, just to look at how you've been doing. You're going to learn tools on how to better communicate, actually structured activities on what you can do to create healthier communication in your relationship. Most importantly, you're going to gain how to create a strong, solid foundation in your relationship that helps you grow your financial dreams together, even when you hit those little roadblocks or little speed bumps when it comes to communicating about money.
Yes, and this course is not designed, as Monica mentioned, to be a Band-Aid. That's not what it's meant to do, because your financial journey is for the long haul. That's how we see your relationship, and that's how we see your financial journey. So we're trying to give you tools that will be applicable now, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 40 years, when you are achieving that financial dream, or for a lot of you, probably a lot sooner than 40 years. But what can we do today and do consistently every day to get us where we want to be? So this is really, think of it as a plan of sustainability when it comes to your financial foundation. And those of you who have kids, this will be really a beneficial thing for you as well, that you can help teach your children some of these things, and they'll be able to see a better dynamic, because kids see this stuff, right? Kids know when there is stress and strain. So if there are children in your relationship, like, they can see, that maybe there's some things that are very stressful in your relationship. So this will also give you tools to help them on their future, and maybe their future relationship as well with finances. So maybe a little added bonus benefit in there as well.
That's right, for sure. Okay, so we've talked about why, we've talked about who this is for, we've talked about what our goals are and what you're going to gain. And the next thing that we want to kind of step into is, there's really 3 big themes that are overarching in this whole course. And again, this is a pre-recorded course, so you guys can do it on your own time. But these 3 things are beliefs, behavior, and communication. What's your beliefs around money? What's your behavior? And in what ways are you communicating about money? And so in each, it's called the ABCs of money in your relationship, because we go over all the A's, and the A's of what A's to avoid and what A's do we want to embrace. So for example, we want to avoid assumptions, and we want to embrace appreciation. And that's just the A's, and then we have B's and C's. But even around that, what are my, when I'm assuming, what are my beliefs, what's my behavior, and what do I communicate? And those 3 things can be detrimental. And when I'm in appreciation, what are my beliefs about my partner, about our working together, and what's my behavior that follows that, and how do I communicate that? And so there's these overarching behaviors, or beliefs, behaviors, and communication that come together. And if we're in a more negative spot, what happens, as opposed to when we're working together, what happens?
Yes. And how do those things come together to create your goals? Because your beliefs, we're looking at basically our value system, right? What we believe. So what we believe as individuals, what we believe as a couple, because at the end of the day, and we talk about this in the modules, no matter how you share your finances, because we're not going to tell you how to do that. That's something the two of you need to decide, but there's still a solid future, right? You guys have a vision of what your life, what it should look like, what you want it to look like. So there's got to be some alignment on vision. And we find that sometimes, because things get crazy, pandemics hit the world, right? And just life in general, we sometimes forget to dream. You forget to come together as a couple and say, what are we working towards? What is that vision? What are we building every day, little by little? Because there's a reason you're together. You love each other. And it doesn't mean that stress doesn't come into your relationship, but how do you go through those belief systems or those behaviors? And a lot of times we find too with money, it's one of those things that just gets pushed under the rug. We'll avoid it and then it won't be a problem, except when we avoid something, it doesn't mean it goes away. Oftentimes it actually gets much bigger. So we want to help you kind of get through that hurdle, because as we say, a lot of times we can be our own worst enemy. So how do we change our beliefs, behaviors, and then as a couple communicate what that vision looks like, and then the action steps to get you there, right? So our values will lead our goals. And then once we have those goals, we can write action plans for what steps do we need to take as a couple to get us there.
Right. That's a beautiful description, because what we value, we, that's kind of how we look at things, how we see the world, and you want your partner to understand that. And our beliefs and values, we don't change, nor do we compromise. And so that's why some of the tools that you're going to learn is you're going to learn how to communicate, even when you see things very differently. It doesn't mean you have to change what you believe. It means you guys have to learn how to talk through things in a very different way, where you're still in it together, that foundation. So what's your meaning, or what's the meaning of money? What do you believe about it, how you grew up about it, or around it. And like you said, that it impacts our behaviors and also how we talk about it. And that's really important. And we're going to go through, like I said, we'll go through that in those modules that really help you make better sense or more sense. And it also helps you create space for understanding in your relationship. And according to Dr. John Gottman, understanding is one of the key components that really makes a relationship work. And that's the same with money. We want to understand not only our beliefs and values and how we communicate and how we behave around money, but we also want to understand our partner.
Yes, because you guys are a team. I mean, you guys are the primary team. And we talk about in the course how we have so many other layers of relationships that impact, what we believe, how we behave around money. But at the end of the day, it's the two of you making the decisions that work best for you, which also comes up when we talk about boundaries, right? You're your team, but what does that support system look like out of that? So we cover a lot, and it's all stuff that really and truly you can use for the rest of your time as you work through your financial journey, because this is not a sprint. This is not a one and done. It's not, I'll compare it to, I have a class reunion and I'm going to try to lose weight just for the class reunion. No, we're not going for short term here. We want this to be your long-term vision. How can we commit to this as a couple so we can be a better couple, improve our trust? And that's a big piece of it. Improve our intimacy. And you all work hard. You should be able to get to that point where you can say, you know what, now we get to enjoy retirement, and maybe some of you right now are watching this saying like, retirement, like what? Is that possible? Yes, it is. So how do we start today to make sure that relationship, you guys are ready to, achieve those dreams, and in the process, just enjoy each other along the journey.
Right. So something that we would even want you to take away from today, to answer that question, is even just to think about that. What are my beliefs about money? And what are my partner's beliefs? And do you know them? And so even if you just start there, and take that home with you and see what evolves. For sure.
Yes.
Okay, so what we want to do is if we have any questions, we want to answer some questions that we received, kind of before, and if there's any live questions now. Yeah.
So I did get one before, and it was similar to what we talked about. What if I want to do this alone? I don't think my partner's on board. So yes, to reiterate that, yes, this can help you. And I'll give you an example. One thing that we kind of use in the module is using I statements. So oftentimes as individuals, we go to talk to our partner, and there's usually some emotion behind it, maybe some frustration. Some of us are probably more guilty of not saying something right away, and then we wait and it festers, so then we're really frustrated. So when we come at our partner, if we come at them from an attack mode or a pointing the finger of you, that's not going to be heard well. So, and I'm not saying that this person does that, but what I do want to say to the person who asked this question is, we will teach you maybe how to better communicate. So in this example, if you went to your partner and said, I am concerned about our finances and I realize we don't talk about it, it would really help me feel more confident in where we're going if we discussed it. Can we set aside some time, because I trust you and I want to work through this with you because I have concerns or fears. Very different conversation than, you don't listen. And again, we don't want to point fingers. No one likes pointing fingers. So to kind of reiterate that, yes, we want couples to do this together, but if it's something where you want to do it and your spouse is a little bit hesitant right now, that's okay. You can still learn valuable things and then hopefully get them on board as you go through the course. Because I think too, Monica, even if one person is curious or open to change, that can be a great place to start, right?
Right. Anytime there's shifts in your relationship, there's shifts. And, and the only, I'm sure everyone's heard, the only constant is change.
Yes.
So, the fact that even you're watching this or you're interested in the course, there's change is occurring on some level. Now we can't predict or I don't want you to hold on to an outcome of what it's going to look like, but it's like, what do we want? Another question I get is often or a comment, but we've tried to talk about money before and it ends up in a disaster. I'm worried that if we got this course, that all we would do is fight and fight and fight and fight. And what I want to say to you is, first of all, money talks, like I said, is the number one number one thing that creates a lot of conflict in relationships. And this course isn't to resolve your conflict, it's to learn how to manage it better when it comes to money. As I was saying earlier, money is about a belief system that you hold that you're not going to change. And a lot of times what we do is we think our partner wants to change who we are or our relationship to money. And that's not what we want to do. And this course really gives you those tools to, like, yeah, you've talked about this before in It's Learned Disaster, but what this does is it teaches you how to talk through things that hopefully doesn't continue to create huge conflict. And guys, honestly, there might be times where you've taken the course and maybe you want to hire Regina to do some financial coaching separately, or you do need to reach out to a therapist because you just need to continue to fine tune a little bit. But these are some good stepping stones, or it helps you create a good plan on how to have a conversation about money that hopefully does not get you to a place where all you're doing is in this, hamster wheel, big conflict between you and your partner.
Well, and I think I love that question. I'm so appreciative that someone, came forward with that, because I think too, I always say to people, what's different now? Because I hear that a lot. Well, I've tried this before and it didn't work. What's different now? So maybe before, again, in stress, maybe the two of you have been coming as a reactionary to something else. So we talk about prevention versus reaction, right? So maybe the conversation before happened because of something else happening, a high credit card bill, maybe overdoing things around the holidays, right? this is a little bit different. So this is actually us teaching and talking about it. So instead of you guys, neither of you really have to start the conversation. You could watch the module and then use that as a stepping point for the conversation. So that's in a way what's different. Because I hear that a lot too, like, again, on a different side, I've tried to lose weight before and it didn't work. Well, what's different now? And I think the biggest thing, going back to what we first started this session with, is why? Why are you doing this to begin with? Because sometimes we're doing it because we like, oh, well, I think we should, but there's usually a deeper why. If you have hit the point where you realize, like, I don't want to ignore this anymore because my why has become so important. I realize we haven't started saving for retirement, or I just looked at our debt load and I'm scared. So whatever that why is, sometimes that's really the tipping point to saying, we're going to do something differently.
Right.
So I appreciate that, because yes, don't let the fact that maybe it hasn't worked before stop you from trying again, because let's face it, we were all babies at one point, and I'm sure every single one of us got up and fell down, but eventually we learned to walk.
Right. One small step at a time.
Yes, that's what it takes.
Yes, one baby step at a time. I say that a lot. Anytime we want to create change, we can't just take leaps. We have to take those small little baby steps. All right, let me look and see if we have any more questions.
Okay.
Do we have any? Okay. I think that's it, unless there's any others that you had, Regina?
So I did have another one that came in, and I liked this one because I like the honesty of it. I had a couple who heard about this and kind of jokingly said, well, if you told me it would improve our sex life, I'd be more interested. So, we had a good conversation around it, but I think this is an important thing to bring up, because sex and money are two topics that are very difficult for couples to talk about. But I think that actually money is more difficult than sex. We might be more likely to talk about that side of our relationship than our actual budget. So I'd love to hear your perspective on this question, Monica.
Well, I also think it's a great question, joking or not. It is just what you were saying. Money and sex are, taboo or tough conversations between couples. And a lot of times couples would rather talk about sex, even if they're talking around it, than talk about money. So, so will this improve your sex life? I'm not going to say absolutely or absolutely yes or absolutely not. Here's what I'll say is when you start working with your partner and you guys start creating close emotional connections, you create space for understanding. You're working together on goals. You are communicating differently, and you start feeling this, hey, we're in this together. We're giving each other the benefit of the doubt. You're more respectful with one another. You're really creating this coming together, and you're really nurturing your relationship around how you talk about money, and you're working on our beliefs and goals and values. You do feel closer, and you're more open to spending more intimate time, whether it's emotional intimacy or physical intimacy with your partner.
I love that. I love that. Yes. As a health educator, I, said that, well, we know that stress impacts all aspects of our life. Stress is actually a big culprit in a lot of actual physical health conditions. It contributes to high blood pressure, headaches, tension, pain. So I said, so anything you can do to reduce stress makes you feel better. And if you feel better, that is definitely possible to improve that. But I figured I'd tee that one up for you, because we had a good conversation, but it's probably on a lot of people's mind, because those are two aspects of your relationship that are two of the things that really you share together, right? Your intimate, physical, and emotional life together, and your money. Like, as a team, those are two things you share together, and they're also two of the most difficult conversations. So we want you to thrive in both areas of that. So.
Right. So very quickly, let's just go over the value, the cost of the course, and then Also, we have a little special for those of you who pre-order the course. So I'm going to let you kind of start with that, with the cost and the value.
Yes. So the cost of the course, you're going to get 7 modules and worksheets to go with it. So it's about 7 or more hours of content from us that we're going to walk you through your relationship and your money. So the cost is $129. The valuation of it is about $1,200, but we want to make it something that people can access. So, and also part of our special, so it's on pre-order now. It's going to officially launch and go live in about a month, but we wanted to do something special for those of you who take part in the pre-order. So we have a special bonus, and is valued at about $250, this bonus material, but we want to give you the keys to success because I mentioned this is not a short-term fix. We are not giving you a Band-Aid to put on a wound that's going to help you for a year, right? We want you to succeed for life. So these 10 keys to success is basically a bonus module. We're going to walk you through 10 things that will help you along this journey. You know, and it might be stuff that you use today. It's going to be stuff you use 10 years from now, because your financial journey is about intention and consistency. So we thought this would be a nice thing to give to you, because again, this is a sustainability plan for your relationship and your finances. So we're very excited to do that. We think the bonus is going to be a real nice treat for all of you.
Right. So to reiterate, if you guys order today so we're going to have pre-order between now, January 26th, until February 26th. So anytime within the month, if you pre-order, and I'll post the link in the Facebook page and you'll have access to it. But you pre-order it, you'll get an email, and you create your your login and stuff, and it'll just say coming soon. And then once it goes live, it'll send you another email that the course is now live. But if you order within that month, we're going to give you this free video that are the 10 keys, steps to success when it comes to money in your relationship. So, you get that for free, and it's a wonderful course that we are giving away. And again, as Regina said, for $129, you get the 7 modules. And again, we go over, all the things that we've talked about already, the 3 big overarching beliefs, behaviors, and communication, but the ABCs and how to create success in your relationship when it comes to money, which is a hot topic.
Yes. Yeah. And what we love about this, and this is where I think, we really wanted to evaluate this for what it is that it's the tools, right? Because you're going to have access to this. You can rewatch the videos, and we'd encourage you to do so. But, those tools of what you're going to learn, learning to budget, learning to, about yourself. So please do. Those worksheets are going to help you quite a bit, and the content is great. We had so much fun doing it because we believe in what we're doing, and thinking about impacting your relationship, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the world, as we have seen, right? 2020 showed us that there's a lot of stuff outside of our control, but at the end of the day, you guys do have control over some things in your life, and if you can be your strong unit, then that's gold. That's what we want for yourselves, for your family.
Right.
And you can take control. This is something you actually have control over.
Right. And again, part of Regina and I's why did we do this, is because especially this year and going through the pandemic, we've all been through the pandemic. We know that we've all been struggling in one way or another, and we've created this because we want to help people more than just the people that we see in St. Petersburg, Florida. We want to be able to help anyone, anyone that can take this course. So we are here to help.
Yes. We've learned virtual, we've all had to go virtual. So, yes, we, because at the end of the day, love is awesome. Relationships are awesome. It's one of the most beautiful, precious parts of life. It doesn't mean it's easy though. So any way that we can help cultivate a better relationship for you, that's why we do what we do. Right, Monica?
That is right. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening in today. And if you're watching after the live, thank you for watching even the recorded. the recorded one. This will be up on my Facebook page at least for 24 hours or a little bit longer. Please share with anyone that you think this would benefit from. And again, if you have questions, if you are watching this after the fact and you have questions, go ahead and still write them in the comments, because we'll go back and we'll answer them as well. So thanks again for watching today.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.